Welcome to the HC Leadership Podcast, forged in fire, led with purpose, formerly known as the Heat of Command. We're here to explore what it takes to lead courageously authentic. From the fireground, battlefield, ballfield, classroom, or boardroom, we bring you real conversations to inspire, challenge, and drive change. Here are your hosts, Kyle Matusik and me, Carrie Henderson. All right, listeners, welcome back. This will probably be our last episode of the 2026 TEEX Leadership Symposium. Tomorrow will be a full day for Kyle and I both. We will be the command chat in between two awesome keynote speakers, which we have the last keynote speaker of the conference joining us right now, Buck Showalter, and we're so happy to have you.
Does that mean everybody will be gone by the time I speak?
No, they'll stick around for you.
Yeah, everybody's sticking around for you.
And thank you so much for taking your time. You just showed up. You just drove in, and
Nobody's that busy.
So,
I'd rather be here than on the interstates between here and who knows where.
yes, so we greatly appreciate it. So we'll just take a few minutes of your time and really want to know a little bit about your history and then what brought you kind of to speak and share your lessons, leadership from the baseball world.
Well, one, I was asked, and it's a great, it's humbling to, I've been very fortunate to be exposed to a lot of things in need of leadership, and it's not something, a lot of it you have to experience and step on your tail, so to speak. That's what I think, that's what they call experience. Hey, I did what you're trying to do. It doesn't work out well. Don't do it. But it's an honor to be here, and I know there's a lot of quality people here trying to help people along their way, and it's not that difficult. Nobody's that busy, and it's always humbling to be asked your opinion on anything. And I'll throw some things out there, and whether it works or doesn't work, you can decide for yourself. But try to keep some people from making some of the same mistakes I made early on.
Okay. Yeah. This is a fire service conference, but what Kyle and I believe is every industry that leadership lessons kind of run the same across the board. It's a little different in the fire service here and there in some things, but in most aspects, we can all learn from each other. So we really love in the fire service when people that are not from our industry come in, because there's just so much more to learn. And the fire service has been kind of gotten a habit of only learning from inside our own culture. And
you find out you have a lot in common with it. Some of the same challenges, whether it's a locker room or a 162 game season, or a job that you got to be on point 365 days.
Yeah.
So, getting into some of the things that you face, and when we look at leadership, one of the things that I think we face a lot is a lot of noise from the outside, whether it be political or the new people coming into our organization. So when you have that noise and the media, the fans, and all that gets loud, what did you do as a leader?
Well, you really are drawn to people who define reality. I was fortunate enough to have a mom and dad in my life that define reality, and not everybody has that. So, my parents wanted to be my parents, not my pals. So it was, there's a big difference now, but they didn't really care if I liked them or not sometimes. But no, it's all relevant. I tell people, whether it's a little league coach, a high school state championship, or playing in the world to get to the World Series, it's all relevant. That's the biggest moment. I tell you, one of the biggest moments of my life was winning the high school state championship in baseball. I went to a little 1A public school, the smallest public school in the state of Florida, in Northwest Florida. And we graduated 50 people, and you had to hustle for a prom date. And we, it allowed me I had to get along with people because I saw them every day, 2 churches, 1 post office, 1 grocery store. So I had an advantage. People would say, wow, you went to New York City twice and worked in Phoenix and Baltimore and Dallas. Well, I thought I had an advantage because you had to learn how to interact with people and how to reach them. And I never got into coaching baseball with the idea I was going to be a major league manager. I just took whatever job was put in front of me and they gave me an opportunity to do, and I grinded the heck out of it. I never worked on my next job like a lot of people do today. And I didn't care what my title was. I wasn't chasing a title. And, just staying focused on what the job description and what the end game is. What's the end game? What are we really here for? Because you got all this peripheral stuff that goes on. You got so many people that really have not walked your walk, and they really don't know. And it can be frustrating, but you have to deal with them too, because they do have a voice. And some people believe everything they read or hear or see. And I've always I'm down the middle. I think politically, I like some of that. I like some of that, but I'm not going to be led around by one ideology or whatever. There's different ways to get things done.
Yeah.
And I would always ask the owner and the general manager, what you need me to bring? What does the situation need? I'm going to adjust to you, and I'm not going to have you constantly adjust to me. There's some absolutes I'm not going to stray from, but that's a long answer. But that's a long. But I wish I knew everybody in there, because what works for John may not work for Mary, and it's different. But at some point, you got to make up your mind and keep in mind what your end game is. Why am I here? And why do I have a passion for this?
Is that so? You've traveled around quite a bit, and is there something specific other than that you were called specifically in for? Were you known for something specific?
Well, winning. So nobody ever had to tell us how we were doing, because there were standings in the paper. There was a scoreboard every night, so you knew how you did that day. But trying to keep the big picture in mind. The long season. We played over 200 games a year, counting spring training. It's 7 days a week for 8 months. And, we pick your friends for you. You travel, you're getting in at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, playing a 1 o'clock game. And I used to tell the guys that nobody wants to hear about your problems. You're flying in a charter plane. You're staying in great hotels. You're being paid well. Nobody wants to hear about you getting in at 3 o'clock in the morning. Somebody's working 9 to 5. So nobody wants to hear about your problems. Doesn't mean, what's the old expression? Harmony is not the absence of problems, but the ability to deal with them. That's why you're there. Yeah. Okay. Because, jobs that don't have any problems don't pay very much. Okay. Yeah. And, if everybody could do it. So, I used to tell the players and the coaches, what do you bring that I can't get on every street corner? What separates you? It may be you can out relationship. Maybe you can out, we went into Baltimore with a smaller payroll and a smaller market. We didn't have the advantages the Yankees had and the Dodgers had, but what are we going to do? Quit? So what were we willing to do that they weren't willing to do? And we established some things that we could be better, and so we were able to compete with them.
Yeah.
I want to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to, I think just from our quick little conversation thus far, you really never had any formal type leadership training.
It depends on how you define it.
Like
so
at
a
classroom, like classroom, symposium, book.
I had the School of Hard Knocks.
That's what I
step on your tail.
Yeah,
and I go, you know what? I ain't doing that again.
Yeah,
and sometimes I've learned the players and sometimes coaches, they have to fail in order to get their attention.
Yeah.
The problem is in this profession, their profession, failure is tough.
Yeah.
It's a different. We lose a ball game and you make an error. We'll get over that.
Yeah.
Okay. But, that's a different
real
level.
consequences.
This is real consequences.
Yeah.
And we all take ourselves way too seriously. That's the way sports is nowadays. I mean, I never took it that seriously. Dealing with the media, I met with them before every game and after every game. So that's twice a day from February 10th to October, every day. And there's so many opportunities to step on your tail, but you also had a chance to deliver a message to your fan base, your team. People are watching this every night, the pre and post game press conference. So instead of dreading it, embrace it and use it as a way to communicate the message. And, but I always thought I did have formal training.
Yeah. Through life. Yeah.
Well, just life.
Yeah.
I learned as much from bad coaches and bad managers about what not to do.
Yeah.
It helped me. Like, you know what? The way you handle that situation with the player or with a coach or with a boss doesn't work. And as being a player, I knew what worked and didn't work with me.
Yeah, that's similar for me coming up. I saw a lot of what I didn't want to do, but I couldn't quite put a finger on how I wanted to do it, especially a woman in a male-dominated career. I hadn't seen a lot of female leaders ahead of me. So it was a lot of, I don't want to do that, but I'm not sure what I want to do yet.
I had that conversation with my daughter when she decided to be a lawyer, and what do you really want to do? There's a great line. Have you ever seen the movie Hell or High Water? Watch it.
Okay.
If you want to understand West Texas. But there's a great line there with the waitress who'd been at this diner for 50 years. She came up and they're sitting down to eat, and all she said was, "What do you not want?" And the guy says, "What?" He says, "We have steak. Now, do you want the green beans or the corn? What do you not want?" So I used to look at a lot of things. What do I not want here? So this is definitely what I don't want to happen. So it's a good movie. You should watch.
Check it out. I'm sure my husband's seen it.
I bet he has.
Well, Kyle,
Yeah.
more questions or wrap it up?
I got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Now that I got
got done with that drive, when especially the younger players, and like you said, it's all relevant and it's all the same no matter what industry. And you get the younger players in that, and I don't know the baseball world as well as you do and how people come in, but as they come in, that first season or they're moving up, the vital to get them started on that solid foundation of what leadership looks like, how to start moving, like what are some strategies there, especially when we look at new firefighters and it's a different breed coming in today.
I was big on who I surrounded them with, the examples. And we had some bad leadership. You have to get rid of those in the start because young players you bring in, they're going to follow their peers. One of my things, if a guy didn't care what his peers thought, he had to go.
Yeah.
It had to be important because I'm a ship passing the night. It had to be important for them to please each other and hold each other to a standard. And I don't want to let him down as part of being a team. And but developing young players is a great art. It's not a science; it's an art. And obviously, you got to have a certain amount of skill to play at that level, but also where this is concerned. But the separator, effort never goes into a slump. I've been accused of, I look at a biography or a resume on a player when he's coming up. I'll pour over all that, but I won't pour over the statistics. His mom and dad, I'll go talk to his guidance counselor, his homeroom teacher, his girlfriend, what kind of car does he drive? How does he interact with his teammates? Is he a sloppy dresser? You never want to draft a high school player with a full beard. Okay. Things like that. Because, the body, you better like the body because it's not growing anymore. And I could give you like 20 other ones that would embarrass me, about body types and different stuff you look for, but they do follow a similar, but you always have to be ready for the, exception.
Mm.
There are exceptions. And you go, wait a minute, and it's a great equalizer of men and women because at our level, I don't care if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, Japanese, if you can do the job and you can be, it's important to you to be a good teammate. And, can you do the job when that time comes?
Yeah.
Is there anything to some intuition? Sometimes you just have intuition.
Without a doubt. We've gotten so analytically over the top where everything has to have a algorithm or something. And every once there's a heartbeat.
Yeah.
There's a heartbeat in baseball, sports, and in life. And every once in a while, I always found I made the best decisions when I took a gut and see if it matched up analytically, sabermetrically, whatever you want to call it, statistically. We were doing this back in the 80s and 90s. Act like this is something new that's going on. It's just they have more information. They have more ways to gather the information. But my best decision when those two things matched up. And, there's times you got 10 seconds to make a decision in the heat of a game in the eighth inning, just like these people have all of a sudden. But your training allows you to have that confidence to do it. And when the time comes because people run from you because they don't want to be the one making that call. You look around, you go, there's nobody.
Nobody's coming to help us, right?
The guys called it POP. I won't get into what they all stand for, but there's some people you put them in a tough situation in the bottom of the eighth inning, ninth inning, the game on the line, there'd be a puddle, what around their feet. And we all know who we're talking about. It's a challenging thing. But once you've been able to work in that environment and do the job, there's such a great confidence that comes. And that's when you become a leader somewhat, when people know that, you will perform in the heat of battle.
Yeah, I used to tell my crew when I was an engine captain, I would say, I'm not always going to make the right decision, but I'm always going to make a decision. And I said, because the road to life is paved with indecisive squirrels.
That's what, yeah, that's what our team doctor, I've had some good team doctors mostly. And it's like I told our team doctor out in Arizona, and every doctor we've had, I said, here's the deal. I said, you've been a doctor of medical for years. I'm not going to tell a pilot how to land a plane. I'm not going to tell the heart surgeon how to stitch an aortic valve. And I'm not going to tell you how to do your, but when we go, what do you think about this injury? Is it a IL where you had to put him on the injured list? Is it, do we need to do surgery, this and that, whatever? It's not that big a deal. 3 days, it'll be back. I said, if you go, ooh, that's a tough one. It could be this, it could be that. You're gone. We will not keep you. Now, if you're wrong all the time, then you're going to, but you have to give us your opinion.
Yeah.
You got to step out there and get in the fire. When we ran the expansion draft in Arizona, the theme of our expansion draft was standing outside the fire, the Garth Brooks song. I said, guys, you're in the fire. No pun intended. Get in or get out. Because if you're not going to stand in the fire with the rest of us, that's not going to work. The line of fire, because when you stand in front of that media, you'll know what the line of fire is about. And there's so many things you're trying to, what's the thing you careful about telling truths to hurt innocent people? It's not that you're lying, but I can't really tell them why that happened. Because if I do, maybe a guy's going through a divorce. Maybe his dog died. Maybe, who knows what happened? His kid's been sick. I don't know. But I'm not going to put that out there publicly.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people don't respect that. And that's where you get frustrated.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody's had that. Well, I really can't make that public and tell you why we made that decision. But you got to get that trust of them. Well, I'm not sure why she did it, but I know there's a good reason.
Yeah, the human element gets totally lost. Like, these are real human people out there.
Yeah. We're all just trying to get along. I always ask them, do you have a pure heart about it? Do you have is there some agenda that maybe, I always talk about, I want people around us with a pure heart. And they're not all alike. Thank God. It'd be boring if they were all alike.
Yeah,
I
that
feel
would.
like I always get this sense when you're around people and you're like, I feel like there's an agenda. Like,
you know it in a heartbeat, don't you? See, we're around each other in our sport 7 days a week, sometimes 20 hours. You'll sniff out a phony in a heartbeat. I tell guys, what's your advice? I go, be yourself, whether it's good or bad. But if you're trying to put on airs and all of a sudden something else comes in and you're different, they're going to go. And I used to tell the players, hey, if you want to know what's being said behind closed doors in the meeting, come on in. Come on in, sit down. I hope you got thick skin.
Yeah.
But you don't have to, we're not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to tell you what we think. And what is it? You lie to a guy, they'll never forgive you. But if you tell them the truth, they might be mad, but sooner or later, they'll be okay with it.
Yeah, especially if coming from a place to help them. And
if you got a pure heart.
And they know you care. Yeah, exactly.
You remember Max Scherzer, famous pitcher, Cy Young pitcher with the Mets. He would, about 2 days after he pitched, he'd come in, close the door. He'd make we have a bunch of analytical guys. He'd say, oh, y'all get out of here. And he'd plop down. And he'd go, what do you got? And he just wanted to talk.
Yeah.
So I would always shut that time down. Let's talk. And it was great. I got a lot of good information from it.
Yeah. And I'm a training chief now, and I find, especially with our recruits or young folks and even some of our seasoned incumbents, they know when they mess up.
Mm-hmm.
You don't often have to tell them exactly. Some coaching is involved for our guys, but a lot of times giving them the opportunity to own their mistakes first, it takes that defensive-ness right away, very quickly.
Well, it's like the greatest accolade you can pay somebody is ask their opinion. Before I'm really mad at somebody, I go, all right, walk me through your decision there. Why? How'd you get to that? Where'd you get? And every once in a while, I really don't particularly care what somebody thinks. Hey, what do you think? And all of a sudden they say something, you go, that's pretty good. Wait a minute, what else you got? And all of a sudden you'll find out, the last thing when I first started managing, I made the mistake of trying to do everything. I was 28 years old managing the New York Penn League, and I just got married, and I wanted to be the hitting coach, the infield coach, the base running coach, the pitching coach, the traveling secretary, And I'll tell you, after about a week, I'm like, God, Monty. I had an old pitching coach they had put with me, about 65 years old. And finally, I turned to him one day in the locker room before anybody got there. I said, Monk, what do you think about And he dropped his cigarette and said, well, now that you've asked me, young man, and he went on this dissertation about pitching. I said, Monk, you got the pitching. And, to be able to delegate some authority and make people have confidence in it. But, you can't do it all. Sooner or later, you're going to need people.
Yeah. And that's important for our executive leadership
Yeah.
in the fire service is, they sometimes try to hold on to some of that and they won't give some of that away. So
Yeah. And
wise advice.
it actually makes you look stronger to give it away when you have that confidence that, I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. I know I'm not good at catching. So anytime a catcher coach would talk catching, I'd want to listen to it. Now I know what I'm decent at, but so a lot of people, nobody's that good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we greatly appreciate your time.
Oh, I got so much else to do.
Yeah, I think everything that we've talked about is going to resonate very well with this audience. And just that human element behind everything and your story and just the quick stuff that we gathered in, this 20 minutes is going to be extremely impactful for.
Well, I hope so. I don't.
It's real.
I don't have all the answers, but this is real time stuff.
Yeah.
And this is, you could peeling back the curtain on what really works. There's nothing more revealing about your character and the challenges. Believe me, you have moments where you doubt yourself, but, keep plodding along.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up and we hope you have a great evening.
All right, we're done?
Yes.
All right, that was good. Thank you.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the HC Leadership Podcast. Leadership isn't rank or title, it's how you show up. So go look in the mirror. Are you leading with purpose today? Keep reflecting, keep leading. Until next time.